I, um, I find it quite frightening that you made the statement that there are tens of thousands of products to be examined to see whether or not they should be regulated. I practiced law for 22 years before I came here, closed over 1,000 real estate transactions, commercial, agriculture, residential. We made up our own closing statement at that time that gave enough information so that people could understand. When RESPA came along in the mid-'70s, we had to sit there and pretend that the closing took place 3 days before because the requirements were so stupid that said that we should have to adjourn the closing and come back 3 days later because the consumer had the right to vitiate the mortgage. And now we have the community banks who did absolutely nothing to bring about this crisis, bearing the brunt of the regulations, when in fact, and I totally disagree with your statement that says on page 4, the regulatory system prior to Dodd-Frank failed to protect consumers from harmful practices in this gigantic lending market. Number one, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac could have set their own underwriting standards, not only to loans that they collateralized, but also the crap that they bought on the open market, the subprimes that 2 presidents said that they should buy up because they wanted to have more housing going on. The second thing is the Fed has always had the authority, as per Chairman Bernanke, in the summer of 2009, to set underwriting standards and to govern documents of the institutions over which the Fed has had the authority. But you know what they did? Not until October 1st of 2009 did the Fed come out with the outlandish regulation that you had to have written proof of your earnings. I mean, come on. Now we have another bureaucracy coming along, blaming the smaller institutions, putting more regulations upon them, when in fact it was the federal government itself that could have stopped this, knowing full well that people were buying homes when they could not even make the first mortgage payment on it. The people are not going to read documents. When I used to close a real estate transaction, it was maybe this many papers. The mortgage was 2 pages. The note was 1 page. And now it's this many pages. People don't read all that stuff. The lending agent or the person who closes the loan hands them the documents that essentially says, if you don't sign this stuff, you don't get your new house. And now we're going to have more and more and more and more and more disclosures. This doesn't work, Mr. Dante. Going in and trying to set up a new bureau to do the job that the federal government could have done adequately before. And my question is, you're going to redo RESPA, is that correct?
One of our...
Tell me, yes or no?
We are streamlining RESPA
okay, now,
as we speak.
No, there are, according to the testimony, several years ago, when we fought RESPA like crazy, because it really is not that clear, it tries to add things to it, it's more confusing for the consumer, there were 8 people at HUD that worked on RESPA. Are those 8 people still doing the same thing? Do you know that?
I wouldn't know exactly who the...
Can you find out for me? I want you to make an inquiry and get back to this committee within 7 days and find out if anybody at HUD is working on the RESPA disclosures. I want to know that. And if they're doing that, they should be reassigned somewhere else or fired. Because that's the authority that you say that you have assumed as part of the Consumer Product Safety Board. I'm sorry, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I mean, wouldn't you be concerned if they were still doing the same thing at HUD on RESPA?
I am, across the Bureau, quite concerned about our continued ability to make sure we have absolutely the best people in the room.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Will the gentleman yield?
No, I won't yield. My question is, according to your testimony, you're going to be streamlining whatever it is and working over this document that's been beat to death over the past several years that continues to expand in size, scope, and makes it even more difficult for consumers to read. I want to know if the people at HUD who have been working on that for years are still going to be working on that same RESPA form. Do you know that to be a fact?
We have a team across that.
No, I mean, do you know that to be a fact? Are they still at HUD working on RESPA?
Congressman,
If you don't know, you can say you don't know.
I've been a federal regulator for 102 days.
No, I mean,
I don't know the specific.
I'm not
team
holding it
at
against
HUD.
you if you don't know. If you don't know, just say you don't know, and that's okay.
Of course I don't know,
Okay,
Congressman. I'm sorry.
but could you find out for us if they're still doing that work?
I'm confident that our staff will find a way to make sure that you have the oversight information you need.
Gentleman's time's expired.
Does that mean that you're going to get back with the information?
I am entirely happy to provide you with the information that you need with respect to free RESPA administration, which I think is a very important topic in consumer finance broadly. We take quite seriously that job, and I'm heartened to hear your enthusiasm for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I asked the ranking member if, because I had one additional question I wanted to ask, if she would mind if I asked for unanimous consent that both of us would get another 2 minutes for question, and without objection, I think she said to go ahead.
Absolutely.
Good. So I thank you, and I know you've got a busy schedule, so this won't take very long. I wanted to go to